Hi, Len. How are you, Mr. Brand?
Hi, hello. Nice to meet
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So I'm
Great
pretty
to see you.
audible.
Did you get my mail? Did you get the updated program?
Yes, I got it all here already.
Thank you.
The challenge which we are sitting with our company is that we actually don't allow Zoom. We block it.
Oh.
But so what we've done is I'm connecting from my iPad and I'm connecting in a separate level. So but I'm quite audible, I hope.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. Then I'm happy because I was concerned.
Thank you so much.
Everything's good. Thank you. You can close it. Thank you. It's just my IT
Headquartered in
people
Dubai, Blue Star International FCCO helps Blue Star get closer to its growing customer base in the global marketplace. Incorporated in 2017, it is a wholly owned subsidiary of Blue Star Limited. It manages the Global Products Sales and Project Division, which caters to the exports of air conditioning and commercial refrigeration products and systems. Besides this, Blue Star International oversees two joint venture undertaking MEP projects in the Middle East and Malaysia.
Blue Star has been in the international arena for over 60 years. Our first two relationships that were established in this region were through Al Ghanim of Kuwait and Al Rustamani Group of UAE. This relationships then developed into other relationships wherein we have now spread over 18 countries in this region, in the Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, and our business has been continuously growing. Our product quality has been appreciated. Most important thing for this market is that the temperatures are high, the specifications keep changing. Therefore, our research and development has continuously helped us in bringing product for this market. Coming to the new developments that is happening in this market, the Blue Star board took the decision in 2017, looking at the future of this business in this region, which can grow, that we should invest in this market. And therefore, we have now set up in 2017 a head office for the international operations at the Dubai Airport Free Zone. After that, now we are further investing into Blue Star System and Solution Company, which will undertake the air conditioning and refrigeration projects in this market. Apart from that, we have also set up a showroom, which is a state-of-the-art showroom, the Airport Road in Dubai, which will cater to the complete market, demonstrating the strengths of the products that Blue Star manufactures and caters to. In addition to this, the Blue Star is further investing in this region by setting up a company called Blue Star System and Solution Company, which will undertake the project business in this market for refrigeration and air conditioning systems, and also look after the services of the region. So this is another addition to ensure that the products that we supply to the market are well looked after for service perspective and the spare part perspective. So there is an end-to-end service solution to the client. We have catered to airports, hotels, the largest malls all over this region. Today, Blue Star, a name synonymous with quality, trust, delivering world-class customer satisfaction. And hence our proven tagline, experts in cooling.
The economic environment is tough, especially since we've had this COVID crisis that turned the world on its head. And as a bank, I think there are 2 or 3 or 4 key aspects we like to look at. The one is, of course, we're a funder. So we've got a very important role to play, and we can see it in some of the results of our clients, where we fund quite aggressively into the agricultural sector. So that's an enormous force for improvement and progression across the continent. So credit appetite and risk appetite is an important factor. The second is we help clients with risk management in terms of our forex and interest rate hedging strategies and products and solutions we can offer. And that is very important in the African context.
Solar energy, power from the sun, is a vast, inexhaustible, and clean resource. It is the energy of the future, for the future, bringing vital solutions in many important spheres, including in extremely critical areas like agriculture. At Shakti Pumps, we understand that the future of agriculture clearly depends on our ability to utilize solar power. That is why we have successfully harnessed this monumental and unparalleled source of energy by developing world-class solar power irrigation and water supply systems involving stainless steel submersible pumps, motors, and allied equipments. Today, we are widely acknowledged as global leaders in solar-powered irrigation and water supply systems, with products and solutions well accepted in Africa, Asia, North America, South America, Europe, Australia, and the Middle East. No wonder we have reached a milestone of over 100,000 pumps installed in more than 120 countries all across the globe. Shakti Pumps has set up some of the most advanced assembly lines anywhere in the world. Here's a look at some of those wonders. The Electronics and Controls Unit is equipped with state-of-the-art machineries to manufacture all electronic equipments. This automated machine is capable of printing a PCB in less than 10 seconds. An astounding 120,000 components can be picked up and placed on PCBs in an hour's duration in this artificial intelligence-enabled machine. After a detailed visual inspection, the PCB goes through an insertion line for larger components. The highly advanced robotic soldering unit for critical components ensures optimum quality and finish. Each individual part of the circuit is tested in this universal tester to ensure flawless working, leading to the final assembled product. The pump manufacturing unit involves a number of processes to deliver quality pumps that last longer. Automatic circle cutting machine setup is highly productive, designed to optimize sheet utilization with the finest finish. A series of embossing and cupping operations prepare individual pump components with great precision.
Headquartered in Dubai, Blue Star International FCCO helps Blue Star get closer to its growing customer base in the global marketplace. Incorporated in 2017, it is a wholly owned subsidiary of Blue Star Limited. It manages the Global Products Sales and Project Division, which caters to the exports of air conditioning and commercial refrigeration products and systems. Besides this, Blue Star International oversees two joint venture undertaking MEP projects in the Middle East and Malaysia.
Blue Star has been in the international arena for over 60 years. Our first two relationships that were established in this region were through Al-Ghanim of Kuwait and Al-Rustamani Group of UAE. These relationships then developed into other relationships wherein we have now spread over 18 countries in this region, in the Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, and our business has been continuously growing. Our product quality has been appreciated. Most important thing for this market is that the temperatures are high, the specifications keep changing. Therefore, our research and development has continuously helped us in bringing product for this market. Coming to the new developments that is happening in this market, the Blue Star board took the decision in 2017, looking at the future of this business in this region, which can grow, that we should invest in this market. And therefore, we have now set up in 2017 a head office for the international operations at the Dubai Airport Free Zone. After that, now we are further investing into Blue Star System and Solution Company, which will undertake the air conditioning and refrigeration projects in this market. Apart from that, we have also set up a showroom, which is a state-of-art showroom, the Airport Road in Dubai, which will cater to the complete market demonstrating the strengths of the products that Blue Star manufactures and caters to. In addition to this, the Blue Star is further investing in this region by setting up a company called Blue Star System and Solution Company, which will undertake the project business in this market for refrigeration and air conditioning systems, and also look after the services of the region. So this is another addition to ensure that the products that we supply to the market are well looked after for service perspective and the spare part perspective. So there is an end-to-end service solution to the client. We have catered to airports, hotels, the largest malls all over this region. Today, Blue Star, a name synonymous with quality, trust, delivering world-class customer satisfaction, and hence our proven tagline, experts in cooling.
The economic environment is tough, especially since we've had this COVID crisis that turned the world on its head. And as a bank, I think there are 2 or 3 or 4 key aspects we like to look at. The one is, of course, we're a funder. So we've got a very important role to play, and we can see it in some of the results of our clients, where we fund quite aggressively into the agricultural sector. So that's an enormous force for improvement and progression across the continent. So credit appetite and risk appetite is an important factor. The second is we help clients with risk management in terms of our forex and interest rate hedging strategies and products and solutions we can offer. And that is very important in the African context.
Solar energy, power from the sun, is a vast, inexhaustible, and clean resource. It is the energy of the future, for the future, bringing vital solutions in many important spheres, including in extremely critical areas like agriculture. At Shakti Pumps, we understand that the future of agriculture clearly depends on our ability to utilize solar power. That is why we have successfully harnessed this monumental and unparalleled source of energy by developing world-class solar power irrigation and water supply systems involving stainless steel submersible pumps, motors, and allied equipment. Today, we are widely acknowledged as global leader in solar-powered irrigation and water supply systems, with products and solutions well accepted in Africa, Asia, North America, South America, Europe, Australia, and the Middle East. No wonder we have reached a milestone of over 100,000 pumps installed in more than 120 countries all across the globe. Shakti Pumps has set up some of the most advanced assembly lines anywhere in the world. Here's a look at some of those wonders. The Electronics and Controls Unit is equipped with state-of-the-art machineries to manufacture all electronic equipments. This automated machine is capable of printing a PCB in less than 10 seconds. An astounding 120,000 components can be picked up and placed on PCBs in an hour's duration in this artificial intelligence-enabled machine. After a detailed visual inspection, the PCB goes through an insertion line for larger components. The highly advanced robotic soldering unit for critical components ensures optimum quality and finish. Each individual part of the circuit is tested in this universal tester to ensure flawless working, leading to the final assembled product. The pump manufacturing unit involves a number of processes to deliver quality pumps that last longer. Automatic circle cutting machine setup is highly productive, designed to optimize sheet utilization with the finest finish. A series of embossing and cutting operations prepare individual pump components with great precision.
Headquartered in Dubai, Blue Star International FCCO helps Blue Star get closer to its growing customer base in the global marketplace. Incorporated in 2017, it is a wholly-owned subsidiary of Blue Star Limited. It manages the global product sales and project division, which caters to the exports of air conditioning and commercial refrigeration products and systems. Besides this, Blue Star International oversees two joint venture undertaking MEP projects in the Middle East and Malaysia.
Blue Star has been in the international arena for over 60 years. Our first relationship that was established in this region were through Al-Ghanim of Kuwait and Al-Usman Group of UAE. These relationships then developed into other relationships wherein we have now spread over 18 countries in this region in the Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, and our business has been continuously growing. Our product quality has been appreciated. The most important thing for this market is that the temperatures are high, the specifications keep changing, therefore our research and development has
सुबह Chance में हूँ में हूँ
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome you to the first edition of India-Africa Agriculture Food Processing Summit. We will be soon starting our next session, Ecosystem to Promote Cooperation in Agribusiness. Request all our speakers to kindly keep their videos on. We will be starting in next 2 minutes, please. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you to the session 4 ecosystem to promote cooperation in agribusiness. We have a set of important panelists with us. May I welcome Mr. Len Brand, Managing Director, Tata Africa Holding Limited, to kindly give his opening remarks and moderate the session. Over to you, Len.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to participate in this summit. I would really, because in this session, we really would like to focus on discuss and exchange ideas on ecosystems to promote the cooperation between the regions to create effective linkages across the commodity value chain. We are also very fortunate to have His Excellency, Mr. Loban Low, the Minister of Agriculture of the Republic of Malawi with us. He will shortly give us his views and address the group as well. Thank you for joining us, Your Excellency. We will then commence with a panel discussion. We have a very, very experienced panel on board today. I went through all of their resumes, and it's quite an impressive one. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a very robust discussion today. The estimate is that at least 250 million people in Africa are dependent on smallholder farming for a livelihood. This is an extremely large number and covers almost half of the population of sub-Saharan Africa. Over this weekend, I had the privilege to read the 2021 report from the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, or in short, as we know them, AGRA. Well, the findings in the report make the discussion we'll have today very relevant. I was taken aback by how fragile the African food systems are. We have a clear case to develop a resilient food systems in Africa. Just two facts from this report. Africa has achieved the highest rate of growth in the agricultural production value of any region in the world since the year 2000. The sad part of this is, unluckily, this was achieved by opening up more land, brought more land into production. It was not achieved by creating better yields on the current lands already in production. Secondly, the vast majority, the estimate is over 80%, of Africans employed in the food systems are involved in small-scale trading or transport. Their businesses are generally seasonal operations, and in many of them live near or actually below the poverty line. There's no question that the systems are fragile, and we need to create ecosystems to make these food systems more resilient and more robust. Let's start a discussion, and I want to invite His Excellency, Mr. Low, to kindly address us and give his views to us. Over to you, Your Excellency. Raki, is the Excellency connected?
So Minister has logged in. We're trying to just see. Erica, that Excellency, you are on the mute mode. Excellency, kindly switch on your audio. Request you to kindly keep your video and audio on. Excellency, we cannot hear you. We can see you, you have logged in.
كان العنبر وهي اش قال لك سوات عليانا.
Raki, should we move on to the panel?
So let's move on to the panel. We'll just check from the back end,
Okay.
and we'll have him as he's ready. Yes, sir.
Is it my turn? Is it my turn,
No,
Elias?
it is not. It's not yet, Mr. Asko. It'll be shortly your turn. We are just trying to get His Excellency the Minister of Agriculture of the Republic of Malawi to connect, but it looks like we've got a few problems. My apologies for that. So in the meantime, I think what we would like to do is maybe start off the panel discussion and panel views. And the way we want to do this is by asking every panel member to give their views around this topic. Share to us what you think, and maybe we can have a bit of a robust discussion then afterwards. The first person I would really like to invite to address us is Mr. Matika. He's the Managing Director of Green Forest Foods. Mr. Matika, can you kindly address us, please? Oh, we're having a few problems today, it looks like.
Sorry, I think it's okay now.
It's okay now. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Matika.
Sorry, I'm not unmuted there. No problem. I think we have very good connection in Kenya. Thank you very much. Let me just turn my speech. This is better. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here, and I'm very excited to exchange with panelists and get to learn more about food value chains and food safety and what we can do to mechanize agriculture. I think I heard in your introductory remarks that farmers have got a lot of issues to sort. And one of the major things that I talked about is disjointed in my introduction, in my own sort of introduction, is about disjointed value chains, whereby farmers are struggling, the land is there, the farmers are willing, and everything else is there, but you find the basic infrastructure in terms of extension services, food safety, transportation, they are lacking. So the farmers are trying to look for the markets, and the processors like myself are struggling to reach raw materials that are fit for the input. So thank you very much. For now, that's what I would like to say as we maybe get more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Matika. I think you touched on really points which is creating quite a bit of pain in the system overall. And I think let's discuss that a little bit later. May I now ask Mr. Askour, he's the Senior Agro-Industry Expert of the Moroccan Agency for Development of Investments and Exports, to give his views to us, please.
I'm glad, thank you for your presentation. I'm glad to be between you in this webinar. In reality, my English, I can't express fluently, but I try to discuss with you by English. You know, Moroccan people, our first language is Arabic, the second language is French, the third language is English. Excuse me for, I apologize for this.
No, don't.
Thank you.
We understand you fully, don't worry, we understand.
Okay,
Thank
just
you
the beginning, all time,
us.
just the beginning, it's the beginning. Okay, for climate, economic climate in Morocco, I think is best. There are some indicators to try foreign investors, in particular in now in the cars sectors, in the plant sectors, industry for plant sectors, and in agriculture and agroalimentaire. In order to be easy to Indian investors, there are 10 sectors in agri-alimentaire who understand all people. Moroccan investors and foreign investors. The first is carob tree industry. The second are dairy and cheese industry. The third sectors who gives the good opportunity is spices industry. I know that India is the most country who exports the spices production. In Morocco, spices industry is the best sectors to invest here. The four sectors is fruit and vegetables valuation. One, processing unity for the production of dried and powdered onion. Two, condiment sectors like copper. Three, integrated tomato processing project, integrated sector, because Morocco exports to the African countries like Senegal, Mali, Mauritania, and Ghana, Congo, etc. The four, French fries and hazelnut chips production unit. Morocco exports potatoes, and when we transform and make industry in the potatoes, it will be good. The five, production unit for range, 4 and 5 products for fruits and vegetable. The five sectors is organic industry. 6, vegan. 7 is refrigerated, storage, and agri-food production. There are some investors just who make refrigerated storage, and they make some money like rent, like rent this storage. 8, meat industry. 9, African products processing and marketing hub, because there are some products in country for Africa like mango, pineapple, Arabic gum, cashew, nuts, increased cooling capacity and processing units such as Perpignan and Rungis. You know, in Europe, they don't produce some production, but they like chocolate in Swiss. They don't produce chocolate. Chocolate is in cacao in Ghana, in Cote d'Ivoire, in the other pays, but the country in Europe who are the aim and the most production. Like this, because we are near to the country for Africa, investment in African products processing and marketing will be the good and best area. The second thing, this is details for these all sectors. You have this expose. You have this exposition. You can, if you are interested by details for all this, we can give you all this document. Carob tree. You know, now there is the big demand, big demand for carob tree in Morocco, like Canadian, like European. The pre cost for 1 kilogram is 5 dirhams or 6 dirhams. Now it's 33 dirhams. Look, investment in the carob tree, like nature of carob crushing and processing units, is a good idea. For this, the government give some subvention for agriculture ministry. Agriculture ministry give 13% for 30% for this investment. The second, the industry and foreign trading in the ministry give, if the if the price for cost of investment they pass 10 million euro, high 10 million euro, government gives 40% for in the investment. If is the cost of investment is less than 10 million euro, the ministry gives 20% for cost of this cost. So the government gives some encouragement for investment, in particular the foreign investment, to have land, to have authorization, and to have land authorization and the taxation for less taxes. Yes, it's good. Less taxes, and there are some free zone for exchange, and it will be ministry give the help for all investors to have foreign investment in order to increase the working people, population pour l'emploi, ainsi la valorisation for value de our production, primary production. I think this is carrotry. The second is dairy and cheese. This is some description. For example, like dairy and cheese. In Morocco, we import 817 million dirham. In 2019, against 450. Export market is 5 million, like $500. Spices. I think Indian people are, are interested by spices, subsectors, production and values of spices, production and valuation of cumin, production and valuation of saffron, production and valuation of Nura, Red Bull paper, production of essential oil. The arguments: agriculture upstream, like a structured producer, trends of use and consumption, direct human food, catering, cosmetic and pharmaceutical industry. Morocco import market, 700 million in 2019 instead of 328 million dirhams in 2016. You know, for this is the demand, asking demand of spices is increasing, is empowered. For this, invest here. You can export, because export market, you know, this 213 million dirhams. With your expertise, Indian expertise and relationship, and your link with the foreign people in Asia, in Europe, we can increase the export market. And you have in our law, Moroccan law, you can export into your device. Well, for your money, if you make some benefit, if your project is benefit, you can export, exchange the money in India. For support to sectors, National Agency for Promotion of Small and Medium Enterprise, Agriculture Development Fund, I tell you 13% for costs investment, and world famous actors present, Nestle, Danone, Bell, ainsi de suite. Fruit and vegetables evolution, organic products, vegan products, this is a niche who is increasing in Morocco. Refrigerated storage and agri-food products, meat industry, meat industry. This also is important, but I think India not interested, but meat industry. For the thank you for your attention. Excuse me for another for my English. I hope and I wish if we can discuss directly, meet face to face, and to introduce in all administration to make your projects, and we are here just to dans ce sens. Thank you very much.
A very sincere thank you for addressing us in English. We really appreciate it. And it was quite easy to understand. So you should not apologize for your English. I think your English is very, very solid. Thank you. It's quite interesting to hear what the Moroccan government is doing, because that's one of the questions which is floating around, which I think we will debate a little bit later on, is how can governments actually create that environment that we have more private investment into the marketplace. The other part is your views around exports. It's quite interesting. You know, it's very sad that when we look at the export, the trade in agri-commodities between India and Africa, then India sends a lot of rice to Africa. And strangely enough, to West Africa, where we have the potential to produce our own rice, but a lot of export happens to West Africa. And then also out of Africa, a lot of pulses go to India, which makes a kind of little bit of sense. Now, thank you for the address. We really appreciate your views, and we're looking forward to a few more discussions around this. May I ask Dr. Kulkarni, who is a consultant in agri-value chains, to give his views to us. It will be quite interesting to hear that. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's a pleasure being here, and I'll speak a bit about specifically about how do we actually create the reach to the for the Indian or for the international market to reach to the product. So that would be my focus. But before that, if you actually Len, you mentioned about the report that AGRA has recently published, and a very interesting information that has generated out of that. The urban population, if you look in Africa, it is the fastest rising urban population in the world. The African continent has the highest, rising, urban population. The urbanization is fastest in Africa, and that is coupled with rising per capita income, and which leads to a greater propensity to consume. So what we are looking at is a 3.5% growth rate in the African urban population up till 2025. So next 4 years, again, this growth rate is expected to continue, and this would be a significant opportunity as well as a risk. So the growing cities, the increasing cities, and are creating large and faster growing market opportunities for the 60 million farmers. But the opportunities also can translate into a risk, and I'll explain it why. The opportunity to ride the rising business and transform the way agriculture is looked at and done in Africa is there. It's an opportunity for all of us to convert the African agriculture into a profitable and a sustainable industry, for that matter. But having said that, having looked at that opportunity, there's a risk also, and risk is because if not properly responded to, if we really do not respond it properly to these opportunities, we may further expand the import gap which Africa is having. We are at this point of time, if we look at the African trade in agriculture and food produce, we look at about 45 to $50 billion of imports, whereas the exports is around $40 billion. So this gap will actually expand, and this gap will continue to rise if we don't respond it properly, and we keep exporting tomatoes and importing purees. That has to stop. That has to change. That thing, once that changes, African farmers, agribusiness must find ways to source and deliver increased quantity of, safe, nutritious food, and that too in a steady, in a sustainable manner to the increasing population of the cities. And that's where the challenge is. And what this has meant is when we look at the policy structure, earlier it used to be a production-driven policy, say structure. Now people like urban planners, food processing industries, food safety policymakers, storage and logistic, storage and logistic companies, all have become central to the functioning of these value chains. Because we are talking about the processed food, we are talking about say more value addition in the food and integrating the value chain. So this has to be understood. The different organizations have to play their role, have to step up their responsibilities and deliver to the required opportunities. So what do we actually need at this hour? We need to intensify the food production profitably. We have been talking about intensifying and increasing the food production and bringing in more and more, land under cultivation. But all that having said that, are we able to increase the yield? And Len, you pointed out this very accurately, that increase in the food production is merely because more and more land hands come under cultivation. The harvest has been the land and the harvest has been increasing, but not the yields. And yields have to really improve. Profitability has to improve. Cost of agriculture has to come down. We have to diversify production. We have to look at diversification of production to meet the significant rising demands in terms of perishables such as poultry, dairy, stock, horticulture, livestock, the horticultural fruits and vegetables. All these things which were not earlier core to the agricultural production have to become core to the agriculture production. We need to drive down the domestic cost of production, because at this point of time, I was talking to somebody in Uganda, and very interesting to note that in Uganda, he was one of the first entrepreneurs to set up a rice processing mill. The cost of operations for the rice processing mill was so high that the imported rice was at a much cheaper cost. And for him to sustain, it was a difficult decision. He sustained, and now he's making a significant progress in his operations. And that is because he is able to bring down the cost. So we need to ensure that the infrastructure is available to bring down these costs. Storage and distribution costs have to remain competitive. We have to bring these costs down and introduce more technologies to it. And if we actually do all these things, we are looking at an investment of about close to $320 billion over the next 10 years. And this would actually lead to a market which is worth about $55 to $60 billion by the end of 2025. So that's something which we have to do. I think when I talk about the food processing and mechanization, I think that's an area where Indian, partnerships can really benefit. If you actually look at, and this is something which an Indian entrepreneur told me when he visited Africa, and he went to the rural Africa and then came back and he said, Africa looks like India 20 years back. The good thing about that is that we have that experience, understanding, and knowledge to address the challenge. We really know those challenges. The Indian organizations know the challenges that the countries in Africa would be facing, the farmers in Africa would be facing, and we know how to address those problems. I'll give you a small anecdotal story. And what we have done is actually, before that, what we have done is we have actually come across innovations. In India, we call it Jugaad. We use various type of innovative mechanisms to come out with a more appropriate solution which suits our environment and which is similar to what the African environment is. And the story I wanted to share is there was a group of African entrepreneurs who visited India. This is in 2017, and we took them to few small scale food processing units. So one of them was a spice processing unit, and one of a very, very basic grade separator, we call it, was there installed. And these people, they looked at this grade separator and they were looking at, and it was a very, very simple machine that the SME unit had installed. And the lady asks this owner of the shop or owner of the unit, how much does this equipment cost? And he says, he converted it into the dollars, and he said, this costs me about $5,000. And she says, wow, I was about to order this from some other location, in the Western country, at about something around $25,000. Something which is $25,000 can actually be sourced from India at $5,000, and that too, which is more appropriate because we have these similar levels of electricity fluctuations. We have challenges with terms of our electricity shortages. We don't know when the electricity would be off. So all those challenges in terms of processing machines have evolved adapting to those challenges, and that's why this becomes very, very appropriate solution for Africa. Now, when we talk about linking these SMEs, so there are a lot of SMEs who have come up with innovative solutions, who have very, very affordable technology solutions for African entrepreneurs and African agribusiness say industry to adapt. The problem is linkages are not there. We are really not able to link these small units, small scale units together. And this is something which we need to really explore. Can an organization like CII step up a mechanism where the SMEs from India and SMEs from Africa can actually can interact with each other and explore opportunities to use say mutually developed technology? They can use Indian technologies there, and can something of that sort can be done? Can we create something like the MSME cluster? And this has been quite successful in India. A lot of food processing companies, small food processing companies, have come together and created clusters under the support of the MSME ministry in the government of India. Can that be replicated with Africa? Can we create a similar type of structure in Africa? That is something that would address a lot of solutions, because then we are able to bring down the technology cost to a significantly low level. Finally, I'll talk about the growing source base. How can you actually expand the sourcing base? And this is based on my experience in Africa. Huge infrastructure investments have been made after the 90s, when the marketing board started to dismantle and we started to have more and more investments into storage. The World Bank came in with a lot of funds for the African governments to set up storage facilities. Now, there are storages are available. I strongly believe that it's a misconception that Africa doesn't have adequate storage. The storage facilities are there, but the business model to run a successful, profitable storage business is not there. And that's why this infrastructure, which is remaining idle at this point of time, can be more effectively utilized. The government parastatals, I'll give the example of Malawi, for example. There is ADMARC in Malawi, which is one of the prominent government parastatals responsible for sourcing and procuring from the farmers. But the challenge they have where do they go and sell? Because they're not integrated in the international market as much as they would like to be. Same time, there are people in India who are looking for products from Malawi, but they don't know who to go to. They can't create an infrastructure where in every village they have their collection centers. So can these two organizations come together and create a platform where the sourcing can be done by the government parastatals, or existing infrastructure can be used for say creating that linkage with the Indian investor? For example, a 50,000 metric ton say quota for pigeon peas has been awarded to Malawi. The government of India and government of Malawi have agreed together to import 50,000 metric tons of pulses. Now, this pulses is required by small processing units in India. They are authorized to import. But for them, for a small unit to go and buy it from Malawi, it's absolutely practically not feasible. But if we have a structure where these parastatals can actually play a role as a bridge between the two, we can create that type of structure. So that is something that can bring in. Of course, we can link trade platforms. In India, we now have the new, we are now actually implementing the new trade laws, where we would have online platforms that can actually be used for trading. Similarly, can those be networked with the African, say, suppliers, and can those trade platforms be expanded to Africa? That's something which we can explore. So these are the areas which I think we can explore. Overall, public-private partnership is the model that has actually worked in India, and that would work in Africa, given the realities between Africa and India being so common. So with that, I'll stop here, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kulkarni. Quite a few interesting remarks you are making, but the cluster concept, I think, is something which we really have to find a way to embrace. Because if we look at some other countries in Africa where they have managed to do that, food security is actually on the table in those countries today. But the cluster concept eventually phases out, but initially you will have to bring together that clusters. And then the challenge of exporting. And if you have to export to a small SME in India, it is a challenge. And I would love to hear ideas of how can we improve that. In my previous career, I was actually working for an American company called John Deere, who are the agricultural equipment suppliers. I was their managing director for a number of years. And I actually commenced a study with the University of Missouri and the University of Pretoria in South Africa to actually verify where should the yields be in Africa on smallholder farms. It was shocking to learn that they only get 1/3 of the potential yield, which is on that piece of land available. So there's no question that yields can be improved in Africa if we can do something around the technology, because it became very apparent that technology is a major frustration and a problem. And it's not just about tractors and implements. By the way, we work with a company called Field King very, very closely and bring their products to Africa in quite large numbers. And it's a very cost-effective solution, just like this. So that's the challenges which we are facing, but I think that's the purpose of this debate, is that we can talk about these challenges and see what we can do around it. May I ask Ms. Rath, the Deputy Director of the National Accreditation Board for certification bodies, please to give her views to us, please. Over to Ms.
Thank you. Thank you very much, CII, and thank you for giving me the floor. That's really a very nice discussion which we have hearing from last 2-3 speakers, and thank you to CII for creating this kind of platform where we can discuss all these related issues with the food and agriculture. So not talking so much, I just wanted to give you a look through my presentation, my views. So please allow me to share my presentation. So this is the presentation which actually what ecosystem is. Ecosystem is a geographical area where the plant, animal and other organization, means biotic and non-biotic, both the components all together work to create a sustainable growth for each and every sector. So when we talk about food or agriculture system, then it covers a broad range of processes. So it could start from the farm production, processing, distribution, storage systems, and also the consumption. It means from farm to the fork. So when we are talking about the relation between the Africa and India related to the agri commodity and its ecosystem to promote the cooperation, always we are thinking about the quality and the standard. So at every level. So once we start from the farm, we talk about a lot of things with the quality and the standards. So as my previous speaker has discussed, like there are so many different categories. Like when we talk about dairy sector, we talk about the spice sector, then the role of certification and quality is very important. So so this is the international ecosystem. You can see there are the products, like which is there the product on which certification is applicable, and above that is accreditation. There is a standardization, there is a testing and inspection. So overall it will create an international scenario for an ecosystem for the quality throughout the line from farm to the fork system. So in NABCB in India, the quality infrastructure has been made by QCI. This is a organization which is an autonomous, and it comes under DPIT, that is a Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and it was established through the special autonomous technicality, that is through the chairman of QCI, and through which through PMO and our Honorable Prime Minister of India has appointed the chairman of QCI. So our mandates are like we are providing accreditation, we spread the quality movement, and we give the right thing about the standards in what way they can proceed at the different levels. So when we talk about the QCI, we represent India's interest in the international flora. So you can see our structure. This is overall structure. We have an accreditation board. You can see NABCB is one of the board which looks for all certifications for the different schemes. You can see NABL, which look for the testing, NABH, it is for the hospitals, NABIT is for the educational institute, and we have a quality promotion. We have a special project group. There are different divisions for the special project planning and the implementation divisions. So definitely when we talk about the certification quality, there is a question, what is accreditation? So accreditation is a formal demonstration of the competence. So it is already defined in various standards, and specifically this definition has come from ISO ISC 17000. So basically it is a global system for creating confidence. So when we talk about technical trade barrier, when we talk about how we can explore international trade, how can we talk about the quality management system, it should be acceptable everywhere. So that accreditation actually create a global system for creating confidence between any of the economies. So I would not take much time, but definitely this is a glimpse of the things which we are doing to promote the quality ecosystem in India. We give certifications for quality management system, energy management, and here we specifically talk about the food safety management system, because the things start like agri and the food safety management system. It is somewhere and altogether it relates with the quality at each and every level. When we talk about the farm to the fork concept, for any of the processing unit, we will definitely talk about systems. So the systems are accredited, the certification bodies are accredited through us, because we are not only issuing the accredited certificate, there are the series of changes, there are series of standards which is applicable, and this will actually give a confidence to explore the global market. So these are the different fields. NABL is one of our board. So testing and calibration laboratories are accredited through NABL, and it actually build a confidence to the customer. No matter you are exporting to any of the economy, you will get a confidence through this accreditation. But after getting the testing, your product as well as your processes. So we are signatory. So here comes why I'm showing with this slide, because we are signatory to the EPIC MRAs. So it will create a confidence in the economy. Like once you are certified, once you are inspected, you are accepted everywhere. So the benefits are definitely the international equivalence and acceptance of the certificates we are issuing, and it will automatically give you assurance for the quality, and in turn it will facilitate the trade. So this is our ecosystem. You can see ultimately the accreditation applies to the conformity assessment body, and this conformity assessment body, by applying the various international standards, they are providing confidence, trust and assurance to the not only consumers but also the government and the purchasers. This is our international forum. You can see like international multilateral agreement is between the ILEC authorities, ILEC and IF authorities, and regional multilateral agreement, you can say in Europe it is EA, in America it is IIAC, in Asia Pacific it is followed by APEC, and in Africa it is AFRAC. So these are the national accreditation body through which we have a MOU, and through this we are building confidence across the economies. So this is the equivalent system. You can see the highest and the top one is IF and ILEC, and they are providing accreditation at various regional level, that is EA, APEC, cooperation like Inter-American Accreditation Corporation, that is IASC, and there are various number of standards which is applicable for the different product. And when we specifically talk about the agri-commodity, then as Mr. Maneka has told, for the agriculture commodity, we are very much into organic. So now organic is one of the latest trend which is coming with the market for the agriculture produce. So we also give certification as per standard 17065, which is specifically for the product certification. So these are standards which are ISO standards, and it actually create that kind of confidence for the international market. Once your product or agri produce is either vegan certified or it is organic certified, it creates a confidence for the manufacturer as well as the purchasers. So through this, it is a single worldwide program for the conformity assessment, which actually reduce the risk for business, regulators and the consumers, and by ensuring the accredited services can be relied upon. This is our role basically in creating international ecosystem for the quality. So these are the different confidence level which accreditation will give you, is assurance of the technical competence for your product, and it will also help you in demonstrating compliance to the standard and regulations of the various countries. And here specifically when we talk about Africa, AFRAC is doing a lot of activity along with the NABCV. I will take you in that also in the next few slides. So NABCV, when we talk about the accreditation in India, all the regulators rely on us. So FSSI being a prime authority in India for the food regulation, they also rely on us, and they are actually giving the third-party certification based on our accreditation. So few next slide, I'll show you how India and Africa, how NABCV is promoting sustainable partnership through accreditation in African countries. So NABCB, we are actually doing a lot of capacity building programs. So we have given training to the Ghana Standard Authority and Ghana COCA board. So this training was based on ISO IEC 17020, which is for the inspection bodies, and also for the product certification body, which was for the global gap, as well as which is for the organic certification. We have also conducted one training for the INAO, that is Ethiopian National Accreditation Office in Delhi. And there was a delegation and officers from this delegation has been trained for the various standards for under 17011, that is for inspection bodies as well as for the product certification bodies. NABCB has also conducted training for TIDD, and which is under the UNIDO product. And what is TIDD? It is a Timber Industry Development Division under the Forestry Commission in Ghana. So that training was also based on 17020 standard. We have given this capacity building training to the SADCAS. SADCAS is a South African development community for the accreditation. So this SADCAS provides services to 13 different countries, Angola, Botswana, Democratic Republic of Congo, Lesotho, and there are many more countries where this SADCAS is helping in creating this accreditation services based on the various standards. And in the similar pattern, we have trained many people in Mauritius also. And this is something like Ethiopian delegation also visited NABCB with Honorable Minister also, and we have signed one MOU also with the Ethiopian, that is a INAO, for various capacity building program for the accreditation schemes. So that there are different number of schemes like QMS, quality management system, energy management system, occupational health safety management systems. And you can see here, like these are the various MOUs which has signed between African and India government to facilitate the technical assistance and cooperation in the area of accreditation. And also NABCB is the part of executing World Bank funded project for capacity building in Ethiopian National Accreditation Office. So these are the few things which already we are doing along with the African continent. And in order to promote this quality movement, not only for the food sector, but also in any of the sector, including food and agri-business. It could be textile, it could be anything where the quality management system applies. And of course, it applies on each and every sector. So thank you very much. This is my thought and my submission on behalf of NABCB, what we are doing right now for the quality management system and quality ecosystem in India. And definitely we would love to hear much more on the quality accredited system, and we want to associate with other different programs related to vegan, organic, and other schemes like FSSC to promote the overall trade barrier, to cut off the trade barrier, and to promote the quality ecosystem at every level throughout the quality chain. Thank you very much. This is my views regarding this.
Thank you, Ms. Musa. You actually are hitting quite a nerve here, because I don't think we always think about how important is accreditation to create a trustworthy relationship between an exporter and importer. Now, we as South Africa are exporters of minerals and coal out of Africa into India. That it just hit me now when you were talking, how important is that inspection which happens in Richards Bay, and what's the inspection that happens on the other side. And it's very important to have that kind of accreditation in place. Now, I think this is a great point. Very, very good point. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Our last panelist is Dr. Nyambi, and I'm really curious to hear from her, because she's the Principal Triple P Investment Officer of the African Development Bank Group. I spent quite a bit of time on their website just to look, because there's many good data points on their website which we can utilize. Can I give it over to Dr. Nyambi, please?
Thank you very much for the invite. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate the Confederation of Indian Industry for hosting this successful India-Africa Agriculture and Food Processing Summit. Very interesting topics, very interesting discussions that have gone on before this one. And in addition, I'm just very delighted to be here and to be given this opportunity and privilege to speak to you about the important issue of development of an ecosystem to promote cooperation in agribusiness. And I'd like to say at this point, all protocols observed. So as has been said to us verbatim, to promote cooperation between regions is very important. And to do that, we need to create efficient linkages across the commodity value chain, offering end-to-end solutions to customers, growing the sourcing base while adhering to quality and food safety standards. So reflecting on this and looking at the fact that India is very advanced in technical know-how at food production and processing, I just felt that this was an exciting topic, and the time is now for India to partner with the African Development Bank and transfer this knowledge and technology with the objective of transforming the African agricultural landscape. So for this discussion in particular, I will focus our attention on a flagship program of the African Development Bank that's called the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones, acronym SAPZs. We normally call those SAPZs. I'm very passionate about them because I'm tasked team leader of a couple in a few of our regional member countries. So SAPZs are very interesting in that they're more than just a low-hanging fruit for us to discuss today, but also a collaborative approach and an end-to-end solution to the entire agriculture value chain in the hope of addressing some of the challenges that Africa faces today in terms of agriculture and food processing. So basically our main goals of supporting our regional member countries to establish these SAPZs include enhancing productivity, through increasing yields, using modern technologies such as improved seeds, fertilizers, mechanizations, digitization, irrigation, and so on, reducing post-harvest losses, which is very characteristic of the agricultural landscape in Africa at the moment. So by linking farmers to markets, developing primary processing facilities, using various infrastructure that I'll talk about in coming slides, and using this really helps to reduce this post-harvest loss issue. And then just mainly also the SAPZs that we advocate, they also reduce costs of operation through shared facilities and economies of agglomeration. Again, I'll talk about this shortly. And then generally also just mainly increasing value addition. Most of the produce in Africa is sold in its raw form, and it doesn't even attract much in terms of price. So we end up being net importers of food rather than exporters when we have the capacity. So using modern processing technologies to increase the value of all value chain actors, especially farmers and consumers, is another goal of these SAPZs. And just briefly, just the key outcomes of this is basically, like I mentioned, to reduce food imports, to assure the African population of food security, nutrition, also importantly at low and stable prices, to boost revenue from agriculture exports, to create wealth for rural farming communities, create new sustainable jobs, especially for the youth, enhance hope, reduce restlessness and crime, which is characteristic of some of our countries, to boost the rural livelihoods and rural-urban drift, and just to basically revive stranded public and private sector funded assets that have been previously put together in different projects, but they remain white elephants. So the objective of the SAPZ basically is to bring economic infrastructure to rural areas of high agriculture potential. And this is in order to attract investments from private agro-industrialists and entrepreneurs, and thereby contribute to economic and social development in these rural areas. So this, again, for sake of emphasis, aims to stem that rural-urban migration that we are seeing. So basically, these are not new concepts. An SAPZ could also be known as an agro-industrial park, an agri-business park. In India, I think they're known as mega food parks. In West Africa, we call them agropoles, and they're also called agro-clusters. And a previous speaker spoke about clustering. And so basically, it's not a new concept, and it's basically a purposely built facility to enable producers, processors, aggregators, and distributors to operate in the same vicinities, thereby reducing transaction costs and sharing business services and increasing productivity and competitiveness. And typically how that works is there's two components: the agro-processing hub, which offers adequate infrastructure, logistics, specialized facilities and services, such as electricity, water, cold chain facilities, laboratory and certification services. The previous speaker talked about standards, so that's something that would be available at the agro-processing hub level, business services, ICT, waste treatment, and so on. All the required services for agro-industrial activity. So how it works normally is that the bank will give a loan to the regional member country. That's to the government, and the government will be the enabler of the project by putting in this infrastructure, and private sector will then be crowded in through the availability of this infrastructure, and they'll plug in their industries and start the processing, because already there is supply, there is infrastructure to support that supply and so on. So then we have what is called the agriculture transformation centers. These are aggregation points right deep within the production area, and they serve as an accumulation point for products from the community to supply to the agro-processing hub for further value addition, and then also to ultimately send through distributors to the retail outlets and for the export markets. So again, this ATC, this Agriculture Transformation Center, is a physical complex of facilities that are put in place to do the primary handling of the produce that is in the area. So just basically in a nutshell, in summary, this end-to-end solution that I'm advocating for, that India must partner with the African Development Bank in, is basically an end-to-end solution for the agriculture value chain. So through the agriculture transformation centers, input supply to the smallholder farmers, improves production yields, and also enhances productivity. And then this then leads at the agriculture transformation centers to pre-processing, storage, sorting, grading, cleaning, and aggregation. And then through the processing hub, we have the processing and distribution, and logistics are also available at the hub level and further on to our markets. So now opportunities exist for even the private sector in India, the Indian government, and other institutions in India, because of that technical know-how. And as it has been said by previous speakers, what Africa is today is what India was 20 years ago. So we have identified, and they're not limited to these areas of potential collaboration. And that's, again, looking at the model that I've just described, end-to-end financing solutions, so co-financing the SAPZs, for example. And because there's a huge infrastructure component, sometimes we even need technical assistance when it comes to assisting the regional member countries to design these projects. So feasibility studies, so financing of those, financing to smallholder farmers, financing to SMEs, and then providing an export market for the finished goods. Zone construction and facility management. So for example, I'm working in Nigeria now, and there we are outsourcing the construction, the zone construction, and the facility management. So tenders will be going out for world-class companies to come in and bid for these construction and facility management roles. So knowledge transfer, so to create that enabling environment. Processing activities, so Indian firms should feel free, directly or through JVs to come and set up processing plants in these zones. Technical assistance and advisory services, grants for research and development, and just different facilities for improving the ease of doing business from experience, preparatory work for the feasibility studies and engineering design, master planning. That's experience that's very readily available in India, and it would really, really add value to Africa. And then also on the production, so large-scale integrated precision farming of different value chains. So that is also an area in which There's opportunities for collaboration with the regional member countries, bringing in the improved technologies, and so on. So there's a lot to explore, and I'm very happy to have subsequent discussions offline as well, to just discuss these areas. I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nyabu. Yeah, I think the cornerstone is infrastructure. We need that kind of infrastructure before we will be able to make that next step, that next move. Because I think everybody agrees that value addition is crucial for Africa. We have to get into that space. And I do think that India can make a huge difference. You know, they've got a lot of knowledge. They've got a lot of technology. And they're quite entrepreneurial. You know, that's what I love about the Indians. They are really entrepreneurial people. They are willing to venture to areas where others are still kind of a little bit scared, careful to venture into. So yeah, I think you make a very strong point here. Thank you for those comments. I just want to verify with Raki, is the minister available to address us?
Len, we just checked. I think Minister's office facing connectivity issues, so they've apologized and they will not be able to join the session.
So he will not be able to join us. Okay,
Yeah.
no, thank you.
We're trying. But
the one question which comes up in my mind when I listen to the panel, and I want to throw the question out there, I don't know who wants to catch it. It's about what role can the India Action Finance play in evolving the agricultural value chain? Because they do play quite a bit of a role in quite a number of other projects in Africa. I'm just wondering, has anybody got views around that?
Maybe Len, if you allow, I'll start with it. Because I've been working with Exim Bank quite closely and understanding the way they look at things. So I think so there's a huge opportunity of creating investments into those infrastructure. And that infrastructure, it's as I said, in agriculture processing and food processing and value chain development, probably we need a lot of private sector investors to come in. But as you rightly said, that infrastructure has to develop. The infrastructure has to be invested in. Somebody needs to invest into those infrastructure. For example, if you're talking about a cluster, then there's an investment required. And that is an area where I think a lot of, say, support from Indian Exim Bank can actually be brought in. An example can be drawn from a project that Exim Bank did under the Indian government's line of credit with Kenyan government. It was a $25 million worth line of credit where they were giving funds to, or they were providing concessional finance to a development bank in Kenya for refinancing technology upgradation for SMEs from India. So those are the type of project where you don't need a huge investment. Food processing and these are small scale food processing units do not require a huge investment. So the risk per investment is not very high. But then if that refinancing is available, Indian technology can be more accessible to the entrepreneurs in Africa. And that's another area where I believe Exim Bank can play a major role. So those are two areas which immediately come to my mind. I let all my other colleagues speak on that further. Thank you.
I think, Kukani, the question is just always, what is the mandate of India Exim Bank? That's where we sometimes run into blockages. And that's why I'm posing the question out there. But I would love to hear if any other panelists got some view around this. It doesn't look like there's much views around this one. So the one area which we didn't discuss much about today is something which I've seen in Nigeria with a company, also a well-known company, Olam, where Olam have actually set up a rice processing mill. And they do have quite a number of acres on the rice which they produce there. But what they do is the contract farming towards the smallholder farmers, because they actually are working with 5,000 smallholder farmers to actually provide rice to that mill. That is a concept which looks from the outside very, very attractive and very workable. I don't know who else put comments around in this regard. Is this something which we should try and pursue more? Is this an ecosystem which can make a difference? No.
Can I jump in there?
Yes, please. Please, Mr. Matika.
Yeah, if I heard you right, you're talking about contracting smallholder farmers.
That's correct, Mr. Matika. We're a large producer
Yes,
who work with smallholder farmers.
Yes, we have a developing experience. We are importing peanuts incidentally from Malawi. This morning I was offloading 28 metric tons. We started 28 metric tons every 2 months. Now we are coming to every month. Now we are going to do two times every month. So that's about 56 metric tons of peanuts. We are partnered with an organization there that has contracted smallholder farmers, and then we are working with them. But even here in Kenya, we have also started now contracting smallholder farmers because we have very big demand for peanuts, because we want now to make sure the season in Malawi and the season in Kenya, because they are different, we want now to broaden our base, sourcing base. My experience is the smallholder farmers can be quite efficient if well supported with the extension services and seeds. For example, one problem we have here in Kenya is even to get quality seeds, because there is no seed merchant for peanuts, because you'll find it was not a well-established value chain. So we are struggling, and we are a bit lucky because ICRISAT, which is based in India, Hyderabad, they have come on board to help us. The other thing is aflatoxins. Smallholder farmers don't have a capacity like largeholder farmers to test aflatoxins. So we need to have a very organized way of helping these small farmers in terms of sampling, in terms of looking at the soil. And we need to bring board people like institutions like universities, institutions like research organizations like ICRISAT, and even experts who are quite versed with this kind of affairs. Just to give you a brief overview, agriculture, it contributes 70%. If I look at the latest numbers for the National Bureau of Statistics here in Kenya, and it contributes 30% of GDP, but only 18% of that agriculture is in large organizations. Smallholder farmers are the bulk of the producers. Case in point, horticulture, Kenya is very, very well known in horticulture. But you will find the smallholder farmers, they produce to the spec if they are supported. So contracting for smallholder farmers is a very, very, very critical thing. Here in Kenya, we have motorcycle taxi. It's called Boda Boda. It originated from people used to take people from one border point to the other one with bicycles, and then it was motorized. Boda Boda has changed the way people travel here in Kenya. Of course, it has a risk component, just as Bharat said. I think it's Bharat who said, there is a risk if you introduce new technology and you don't manage it well. There are a lot of accidents with Boda Boda, but the overall, it has brought a lot of good things. So we need a Boda Boda moment for agriculture. And those are micro tools, whereby maybe a farmer, like the young people. I was giving an example to some people who were discussing, and I was telling them why young people are not interested in agriculture. If for example, if I meet some young guy, we were together in primary school, and he's a farmer just using a hoe to just a hand hoe, and I talk to him, and mobile phone is there is a very high level of connection. I find him there. I tell him, hi, so and so, I'm going to Nairobi. Then after a short while, I call him when I'm in Dubai after 4 hours, and the guy is still on the farm. So it becomes very difficult. That guy will think he's not achieving anything. But if we can have micro tools, which India I think is quite vast with, we can really make agriculture move very fast. My last but not least is integration with IT. Kenya is very advanced in IT, you know that, in mobile money. We are using that to pay our farmers at farm gate on mobile, and everyone gets their money at the same time, and they can compare notes. We are also developing some applications for reporting yield, soil, and everything. So if we can maybe use agriculture, technology more, it can get us far. IDB, Africa Development Bank, I appreciate I must excuse myself for not understanding diplomacy very well, but if I'm right, IDB does not work with smallholder farmers, it works with governments. But governments tend to forget. I think there should be a way to force the hand of the government. If they forget, you need to have a reminder mechanism for them. Because you will find a lot of people put money in banks through government, but the banks start lending government instead of lending smallholder farmers. Big problem. And there's a lot of knowledge floating around. I'll give you a personal example. I used to work for Unilever. Then I left. And I started my own organization with 15,000 Kenya shillings, which is about less than $150 with 2 employees. Now I have 61 employees and work with 2,000 farmers here in Kenya. I don't know how many in Malawi are supplying us, but they should be in the region of 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000. So there is a lot of that can be done in agriculture with their support. Now we are competing with Skippy, which is an international brand, and we are pushing them out of the shelves. Thank you.
Excellent. That's really great to hear those views, because I had similar experiences, because I've been privileged enough to work in Africa in the agricultural sector now for about 30 years. And I've seen various models in this. Just the contracting farming, as Mr. Masego was quite intriguing. No, thank you for those comments. This is bringing us towards the end of this session. And I just want to say thank you to all the panelists. Really great comments, really great views. Your experience is just showing. There's no question about it. If you have to summarize this discussion, it's very clear that we need to see vast improvements in value addition activities downstream. And that government will play a critical role in that, in creating that kind of environment where we can start to bring in the private sector with investments to actually do that kind of vast improvements which we require there. No question about that. Secondly, raising yields and productivity on existing farmland is also very important to make the food systems more resilient. By doing this, we will reduce the pressure to open up more land, and this should protect our forests and our grasslands here in Africa, which is really something special which we are sitting on. And I do think that technology is going to make a major difference. There's no question that better improvement around seeds, mechanization, all of those kind of technology will make a huge difference in this regard. And lastly, many in Africa depend on food systems for employment in India. A lot of people. Making food systems more resilient and sustainable will start to address poverty in a big way. One of the data points I unearthed from one of the was that the growth generated by agricultural in the sub-Saharan Africa alone is estimated to be 11 times more efficient in poverty reduction than any other sector. I don't think we should underestimate the importance of agricultural to help to address poverty on the African continent. I just want to say, lastly, this is a us task. I don't think this is just one for government, it's one for the private sector. Government has to play their role, and I do think that India, with their vast knowledge and experience, can help us considerably in Africa to speed up the whole process. A very sincere thank you for this opportunity. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Len, for chairing the session. Thank you, panelists. This was indeed a very interesting session. And of course, I agree very much that there is a lot we can do together. And India will be very happy to partner Africa in promoting sustainable partnerships for the agriculture sector. Once again, thank you so much for joining. Till the time we meet next year again for the second edition of the India Agriculture and Farm Processing Summit. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Tools.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank
اش
you.
داير تمام نعرف غير اش كاين اما دابا غنقول لك يا اما غنغلي عليك يا اما عاد غنضيع راسي يا اما فهمتي ما عارفش